Yeah, so I've watched this video several times, and when I let the impact of the quotes hit me fully, I usually end up crying, at least a little bit. The words of Lao Tzu show how powerful simplicity is. There's so much power packed into each, you know, 6, 7 word sentence. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch the video, and we're gonna watch like in 3 or 4 minute segments, and then I'm gonna pause, and then we'll go back into that segment, and I'm going to give you my interpretation of the quotes. So first, I'll let you enjoy them for 3 or 4 minutes at a time, and then we will discuss them. And I love this video for so many reasons. I love the art, I love the music, and I love the narration. Like the guy's voice and the way that he reads it, to me, is what Lao Tzu would have sounded like. And so without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, Yale's here. Welcome, Yale. Welcome, Yale. I'm glad you're here to join us. I knew I shouldn't cancel it. I was like, if nobody's going to be here, do I even want to do it? But you're here, so let's get into it, my friend. All right. Switch to the viewing mode. Here we go. All right, let's begin. We're going to do a 3 or 4 minute segment, and then I'll pause and we'll go back and discuss them.
From wonder to wonder, existence opens. The best fighter is never angry. Knowledge is a treasure, but practice is the key to it. To a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. Be like water. To understand the limitation of things, desire them. Be still. Stillness reveals the secrets of eternity. Respond intelligently, even to unintelligent treatment. Because of a great love, one is courageous. An over-sharpened sword cannot last long. When you accept yourself, the whole world accepts you. Sincere words are not fine. Fine words are not sincere. The way of heaven is to help, not harm. Music in the soul can be heard by the universe. He who talks more is sooner exhausted. As soon as you have made a thought, laugh at it. A bad man is a good man's job. Take care with the end as you would with the beginning. The further one goes, the less one knows. When goodness is lost, there is morality. To hold, you must first open your hand, let go. Spring comes, and the grass grows by itself. Our enemies are not demons, but human beings like ourselves.
All right. That's the first segment. Hey, Susan's here too. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right. Let's go back and listen to them again. I'm going to pause after each one to give you my interpretation. And please let me know in the chat what these quotes mean to you, which quote strikes you more powerfully, and then why. What do you think about it? I'm here to chat with you guys, so let me know what you think. All right, back to the beginning.
opens. From wonder to wonder, existence opens.
So this quote to me is remembering to maintain our childlike wonder of life. And it's a perfect quote to open this video. Just think of how wondrous life is and how our life goes from one wonder to another. And in between, there are all the like mini wonders. So maintaining our childlike wonder.
The best fighter is never angry.
You can imagine a Zen master, martial artist. You know, who's more intimidating at one of those face-offs with the MMA where they're facing each other? Is it the guy who looks really angry and who's going to like go crazy? Or is it the guy who has no emotion whatsoever, just intense focus? The best fighter is never angry. And this is a profound comment basically on the weakness of anger. Strength comes from not being angry. I have to remember this one. It's not easy for me. Yale says, sounds like the creation of the universe. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, who can really imagine? Or maybe we can, because we're connected to God, so maybe we can tap into his memory of creation. But, you know, first he created one wonder, and then he created another, and then there was space in between, right? That's what I picture. And then he created another wonder, and another, and another.
Knowledge is a treasure, but practice is the key to it.
This quote, imagine you have a treasure chest, but you don't have the key to the lock on the treasure chest. And for whatever reason, you can't break into it. Maybe it's a magical treasure chest, which is kind of how it works. So you have the treasure. You have the knowledge. But without the key to open the box, you can't get into the treasure. You can't use the treasure. Practice is the key to using knowledge.
To a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders.
This quote describes meditation, which I highly recommend. You know, as we go inward in meditation and we still ourselves in our mind, the entire universe becomes accessible to us. And most people who are skeptical do not believe this, or otherwise they would be meditating all the time. And some of the great masters in history did meditate all the time because this is what they were experiencing. Yale says, God is infinite. To make spaces for our reality, God created a void within his infinite light, whereby he remains present but cannot be perceived. Fascinating. That makes a lot of sense. I like that picture of us existing within God, which is true, because I think sometimes, and I think for myself too, until I just read your quote, I pictured God as like separate or in a separate realm, but we are actually contained within God, as you just explained. Fascinating. Yale says that is a cool metaphor, the key. I know, isn't that a perfect quote? Hey, Ryan's here. Welcome. Good to see you, man. We are analyzing these quotes by Lao Tzu.
Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know.
This quote is to remind us that the people who talk a lot, like politicians or TV pundits or whatever it is, just because they talk a lot, just because they present themselves as confident, doesn't mean they actually know anything. And then it's those people that you must use your powers of observation to see, because they may not actually speak and tell you how wise they are, but you can tell through their actions. And so that's what this is saying. Basically, actions speak louder than words.
Be like water.
Be like water. All right, this one needs some context, so I'm going to pull up the original quote for you guys. In the meantime, what do we got here? Yale says, I like that one a lot too. You could read so much into that one and apply it in many ways. You know, I can't even remember which one the last one was, Yale, so you're going to have to tell me which one you're commenting on. All right, let's search water. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart. Because he has given up helping, he is the people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. Susan says true regarding talk-a-lots. Yeah, right? Exactly. So be like water is to be humble. It is to be content with the low places that people disdain. That's another quote from the Tao Te Ching. There's actually several water quotes from the Tao Te Ching. Trying to find the quote. Yeah, here it is. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao.
To understand the limitation of things, desire them.
This quote is one of the greats, in my opinion, or at least it's been one of the most impactful on me. In the recent past, I've realized how powerful this quote is. You know, when we devote our lives to something for a long time, like seeking wealth, for example, or any addiction, you know, people can be addicted to work. They can be addicted to sex or drugs or food. And so all of these things, we realize, we understand the limitation of them when we try to put our whole life into attaining them. And it's when we either attain them or we don't. Either way, we understand the limitation of those things. So this quote explains the mechanism by which desire brings us to dead end after dead end. To understand the limitation of things, desire them.
Be still. Stillness reveals the secrets of eternity.
Meditate. This is what it's about. And also just calm yourself. And this, we'll get more into this. Simplicity, humbleness. These are all ways of being still. And then we can hear that small, still voice inside us, which is the voice of God and of our higher self.
Respond intelligently, even to unintelligent treatment.
This is another one that I love, and I feel like has really, I've had it play over and over in my head in situations. You know, when someone treats you poorly, when there's someone in your life who you're not happy with, or you don't, you know what it is, you feel like giving them courtesy and treating them well is almost an insult to yourself because they don't do it for you, right? The people who don't reciprocate. But is that the saintly behavior? Is that the way that you are going to karmically resolve yourself of the situation? No. You should behave in the way that you have studied and understood to be the correct way to behave, no matter what someone else is doing. That is to respond intelligently, even to unintelligent treatment.
Because of a great love, one is courageous.
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't love the things that we loved, we wouldn't be able to have courage, right? I think there's a quote, it's like, I don't hate the thing that threatens my family because I hate it. I hate it because I love the thing I'm trying to protect. This word courage reminds me of our discussion on the Hawkins emotional scale and how courage is like the boundary between the lower realm and the higher realm. It's like the love of God is what can pull us up through the dark emotions that we might be feeling. And the gateway is courage.
An over-sharpened sword cannot last long.
This is a perfect metaphor for, not going too fast and not going too slow. Properly sharpening a blade means that you can't cut it so sharp that it's going to break because it's too fragile. It has to have enough width to last. So we cannot sharpen our blade. We cannot continuously, work out or focus on one thing for too long, because ultimately that will break.
When you accept yourself, the whole world accepts you.
Here is another foundational piece of wisdom from Lao Tzu and Taoism, that of acceptance. I'm working on a new video. Give you guys a little sneak peek. It's the 5 tools that are available to us, how to apply spirituality, 5 tools we always have, and one of them is acceptance. When you accept yourself, the whole world accepts you. When it's as within, so without, as above, so below. When we heal ourselves, we heal others. So when we can take care of our own insecurities, then we will see that reflected to us in the outer world, and other people will perceive us as confident and steady instead of constantly being agitated and anxious, trying to get approval from other people.
The whole world accepts you. Sincere words are not fine. Fine words are not sincere.
I always feel this way when I read like an over-edited or like a scientific paper that's trying to sound really sophisticated, uses a lot of words, fine words. But is the person's soul and spirit, is the truth sincerely being expressed through them, right? Sincere words are not fine. Fine words are not sincere.
The way of heaven is to help, not harm.
The way of heaven is to help, not harm. So many people feel that God is punishing them, or that these lessons that we learn in our life that are difficult and cause us pain and anguish, sent to us by God, but they are here to help us and not harm us. And if we can follow the wisdom of the masters in the midst of these lessons, they don't have to be painful at all. The pain we experience is because we do not understand the greater picture, and we have lived up to this point in misalignment with God's will and with the flow of the universe. And so when we do that, we end up in these painful situations, but we are always able to heal and get out of them, no matter what the situation. Especially if we call upon God and heaven for help.
Music in the soul can be heard by the universe.
This one is telling us about the principle of vibration. What music your soul is playing is what is vibrated out into the world. This is going to be in my next video as well. But you guys, we talked about it last week. The electromagnetic field of the heart, that which is, the music in our heart is what resonates out into the world. And that is what the universe brings back to us. And the idea that it can be heard by the universe, as in there is no time and space that actually separates us from the entire universe. Think of how powerful of beings we are based on that truth.
Can be heard by the universe. He who talks more is sooner exhausted.
This one just is very intuitive to me, obviously true, but you might not think about it, but the person who is really constantly putting themselves out there, trying to talk to everybody, trying to basically impose their personality on everyone, instead of sitting and listening and being still, the person who sits and listens and is still is actually more powerful and has a longevity in relationships and in any situation.
As soon as you have made a thought, laugh at it.
This is to remind us that our thoughts are not to be taken as this serious thing that is true. Even if you think of something and you think that, oh, wow, I just figured that out, and maybe it's something that makes you feel very anxious or upset, you probably don't actually understand the situation. Or maybe your thoughts and your feelings are being filtered through your emotions. So you're responding emotionally. So a wise man understands that thoughts are always coming up into his mind, and not to chase after them or to attach himself to any one thought. It's not to say that thoughts aren't useful. Obviously, we all need to think, but sometimes our thoughts are not helpful. I would say most of the time our thoughts are not helpful. So as soon as you have made a thought, laugh at it.
A bad man is a good man's job.
All right, the original quote is too good not to share with you guys, so let's get this on the screen. Bad man. Here we go. We'll start. Oop. That is strange. Okay. I'll read the whole quote. Number 27. That's one of my favorite numbers. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever it wants. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It is the great secret. So we wonder why we are in the positions that we're in, and it's because we either occupy the position of the good man or the bad man. And when we're the good man, the bad man is our job. And when we're a bad man, we need to look to the good man as our teacher. It is that simple. That is almost the relationship of all people. Now, most people don't acknowledge this dynamic, but that is, I believe, the way that it is built. Hey, Eleanor's here. Welcome. Hey, now that we got everybody here, I just want to mention again, I did change the time to 3 to 4 today. One of the main reasons was I wanted to take a little pressure off myself because sometimes getting ready for these live streams can take up 2 full days, a day of research and preparation, and then actually producing it, getting ready for the live stream, setting up, and then doing the live stream. So I'm hoping that, once in a while I can do a 1 hour with less preparation, and then maybe sometimes I'll do the 90 minutes with the preparation when I feel excited and inspired and ready to do one. Or maybe we'll just do the 1 hour every week if people like that. I mean, I don't know. Does anybody prefer the shorter stream? So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Also the time, I thought maybe 3 o'clock would allow more people to join the stream. Maybe they'd be done with work by then. Just an idea. But either way, I want to do what's right for you guys and what's right for me and the channel. I want to produce the edited videos because those I think have the most impact out in the world. But I know that because you guys are mostly my family and friends, I know that it helps you guys tremendously, these live streams. And if I only help one person with any piece of my work, that makes it all worthwhile to me. But yeah, I need to keep things in balance and make sure that I'm doing what's right for the channel in the long run. Yale says, I have a new schedule starting soon, so a 3 p.m. start time works better for me. Otherwise, I might miss the first bit. Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Hey, that's exactly what I said. Maybe 3 o'clock's a little better. And, I don't know. We'll figure it out eventually. Susan says 3 is good here. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about everything I said. All right. There was another piece that... there was another announcement I was going to make. I can't remember. I think I was going to talk about the video, but I mentioned that earlier. I'll mention it again here. It's already 3:30 and we're only 2 minutes into analyzing here. So I don't know if we're going to make it to the end of the video. All right. Ryan says he's good either way. All right. Well, let's continue and see where we go here.
Man is a good man's job. Take care with the end as you would with the beginning.
Oh yeah, and then the drums come in, man. I love it. I love it. The whole thing. I just sit and meditate to this video sometimes, and it hits me so powerfully. So it's at the point where YouTube sometimes just suggests it to me over and over because I've watched it so many times, but they know I'm going to watch the whole thing again. So take care in the end as you would in the beginning. Such a powerful quote that we all forget. When you're at the end of any endeavor, you're often just like excited to get to the end, right? And so you don't take that care that you would take at the beginning, where you know that there's nothing and that you have to create it from nothing. But if we can maintain that beginner's mind throughout any endeavor, we will create something that truly lasts. I feel like this happened to me with my last video, the 44 Insights video. I felt that I could not wait another day to publish it. And it was generally good, but I didn't take as much time on the music as I would have liked. Some of the timing of the music and the volume of the music, I kind of rushed that part because it was at the end and I just wanted to be done. And while I still think it's good, it didn't ruin the video or anything. It could have been better. And this quote, unfortunately, reoccurred to me several times during the production of that video.
As you would with the beginning. The further one goes, the less one knows.
The further one goes, the less one knows. I'll show you an analogy here. Okay, let's say your sphere of knowledge is this circle. Okay? Everything out here at the edge of the circle is what you can see that you don't know. And it's a small circle. So what you can see that you don't know is small. But if what you know is this, you see that this is everything that you don't know. And it's exponentially larger. Right?
Goes, the less one knows. When goodness is lost, there is morality.
When goodness is lost, there is morality, is to say that once people stop being good for the sake of being good, we need moral rules suddenly. And so a lot of rules and laws and restrictions actually reveals a lack of goodness within.
To hold, you must first open your hand. Let go.
To hold, you must first open your hand to grasp. It's a physical truth, but also reveals the paradox of trying to hold on to something.
Spring comes, and the grass grows by itself.
This powerful quote reminds us that we don't actually need to do anything to be who we are supposed to be. Everything in nature happens automatically. There's no external factor that needs to be put into it. Eleanor says, the holding one reminds me of, if you want to know limitations of something, desire it. Yes. Were you here when we played that a few minutes ago? I feel like you might have missed that. But yes, we did talk about that quote.
Our enemies are not demons, but human beings like ourselves.
This is one of the quotes that sometimes makes me cry when I think about all the enmity in the world, the fighting, the war, and even like petty personal differences. We can always remember and rise above them if we remember this quote. Our enemies are not demons, but human beings like ourselves. Eleanor says that Sylvia says, I know the grass grows by itself. Why do you need to say that? Wisdom from a 5-year-old. Yep, as we get older, we forget these basic truths, don't we? All right, we've reached the end of the first segment, so we're going to watch another 3 minutes without my interruption. Enjoy.
When you are at one with loss, the loss is experienced willingly. Composure is the ruler of instability. With few, there is attainment. With much, there is confusion. He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough. There is no greater danger than underestimating your opponent. Do your work, then step back, the only path to serenity. If you are untrustworthy, people will not trust you. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent on arriving. Stop thinking and end your problems. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. When there is no desire, all things are at peace. He who obtains has little. He who scatters has much. If you want to lead them, you must place yourself behind them. Give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself. Those who flow as life flows know that they need no other force. He who acts spoils. He who grasps lets slip. If you wish to be out front, then act as if you were behind. Love is a decision, not an emotion. Go to the people, live with them, learn from them, love them. If you do not value rare treasures, you will stop others from stealing. A scholar who cherishes the love of comfort is not fit to be deemed a scholar. A man with outward courage dares to die. A man with inner courage dares to live.
All right. Eleanor says, I used to hate the one that says, stop thinking and end your problems. After letting Taoism settle in me a bit, it now makes sense. What a relief to not think constantly. That's an awesome realization, Eleanor. Glad to hear it. All right, let's go back. Let's see here.
When you are at one with loss, the loss is experienced willingly.
I think this one needs the original text. Let's take a look. If you open yourself to the Tao, you are at one with the Tao, and you can embody it completely. If you open yourself to insight, you are at one with insight, and you can use it completely. If you open yourself to loss, you are at one with loss, and can accept it completely. Open yourself to the Tao, then trust your natural responses, and everything will fall into place.
Composure is the ruler of instability.
This one confuses me a bit, but I believe what it means is that when we can stay composed, we can control any instability that we might be threatened with.
With few, there is attainment. With much, there is confusion.
And here the word attainment is enlightenment. And so what he's saying is that with less things, less distractions, less ideas, less of everything, few, there is attainment or enlightenment. And when we have so many things and so many ideas and so many desires, with much, there is confusion.
He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough.
What can I add to that one?
There is no greater danger than underestimating your opponent.
Sometimes I remember this one when I hear someone being arrogant, especially in a competitive situation. It's one of the first rules in the art of war is to know your enemy. Sun Tzu in the Art of War says, if you know yourself but not your enemy, you will win half of your battles. If you know your enemy but you don't know yourself, you will win half of your battles. If you know both your enemy and yourself, who could possibly stand against you? And if you don't know your enemy and you don't know yourself, what chance do you have?
Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity.
This teaches us one of the ultimate points. In order to have success and happiness in life, we must always be letting go. No matter how hard we work on something, we do our work and then we let it go. We let it out into the world. We don't have expectations of how it will be received or the rewards that it will bring us. That cannot be the point of our work. Hey, Bobby's here. Welcome, buddy. Metal Gear Solid 1. That's awesome. I don't remember that, but that's awesome. I did play that game. I love those games, Metal Gear Solid games. Welcome to the stream, Bobby.
If you are untrustworthy, people will not trust you.
I feel like this one reminds us how even when we think we're being sneaky, even when we think we're able to conceal something from other people, they can sense the truth. And so there's a few fables where, an individual goes to a town and nobody likes him, and then he goes to another town and nobody likes him. Finally, he meets a wise man. He's like, I went to this town, they didn't like me. I went to this other town, they didn't like me. And it's like, The wise man said to him, did you like them? Like, your energy is reflected from the people around you. And so if you are untrustworthy, people will not trust you.
A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent on arriving.
This is again teaching us to be in the process and not be seeking the destination. You can imagine if you're on vacation and every single phase of the vacation you were thinking about the next one that you were trying to get to, right? You are not enjoying each moment. And that is actually how life works. We are supposed to enjoy and appreciate every moment, no matter how mundane. And so we can be like a good traveler and not be intent on arriving somewhere, but actually be present where we are now.
Stop thinking and end your problems.
There it is, Eleanor. I hope you're still watching, but stop thinking and end your problems. I don't know if Lao Tzu ever had a better quote than that one. You know, this tells us the power of stillness and simplicity and meditation, and even of non-action, which we'll see later as well.
If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present.
Yale, I know you and I have discussed this one a couple times. I think it's a perfect explanation of what happens to us when our mind is carried away from the present moment, and how the present moment always has, it contains that peace that we're seeking. Susan says, traveling is an adventure when I'm driving. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, everything in our life, you know, there's so many things we do, we're bored. But, you know, if you can remember that first quote, from wonder to wonder, existence opens. You know, just the fact that we're alive is a wonder.
When there is no desire, all things are at peace.
This, you can feel the truth of this statement, and it shows us how dangerous desire can be. If we have no desires, if we are truly present, then we are at peace.
He who obtains has little. He who scatters has much.
This is speaking to being a giver and not a taker or a hoarder of things or possessions or experiences.
If you want to lead them, you must place yourself behind them.
We've probably all seen the diagram of the leader versus the boss. The boss has the whip and he's cracking the whip, and the leader is up front pulling with the people, or in this case, being behind them, being beneath them. If you want to lead a people, put yourself below them. Humble yourself.
Give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself.
This is a powerful one of believing and understanding that evil and negative influences only continue to exist because people focus on them so much. There's some part of me that disagrees with this, but I've seen it in my own life. It's like when you finally stop trying to fight all these battles, suddenly things fall into place. Eleanor says, the leading one is totally how you have to be with children. Yeah.
Those who flow as life flows know that they need no other force.
This is another one that hits me really hard sometimes. We always think that we need so much to succeed and to be in life, to succeed and to make progress in life. But if we can truly tap into the power of the Tao and of God in each moment, we are completely empowered and we need no other force. Eleanor says, putting yourself in front of kids as a leader, pushing, harassing, dictating just backfires. Doesn't it ever? Doesn't it ever? So I'm already wondering if this is the right format because I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time to get through everything. We're only 5 minutes into this video as far as analysis goes. So I'm going to go at least to 410, I think, and we'll see. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll have to go back to the 90 minutes because I've got too much to say. Oh, man.
He who acts spoils. He who grasps lets slip.
He who acts spoils. He who grasps lets slip. Yeah, it's like, we'll talk about this a little later, but I guess we don't have time, so I'll get into it right now. The principle of non-action. Lao Tzu often repeats this mantra. And it's because I had a profound realization about this insight. Non-action is the most important when we are incorrectly motivated. When we are reacting from fear or anger or desire or pride or any of these things. We think that we have to do something, to protect our ego, to protect our situation. We have to change what's existing. We have to we have to say the thing to the person. We have to insult them back. We have to do tit for tat. But the power of non-action is what Lao Tzu teaches.
If you wish to be out front, then act as if you were behind.
That's kind of the same quote as before, right?
Love is a decision, not an emotion.
Yeah, listen to that one again.
Love is a decision, not an emotion.
It's such a powerful thing to understand that we can bring love to a situation through our decision versus thinking that love is something that we get from the world or that we can only feel when other people please us in a particular way. Love is a decision, not an emotion. Yale says, you can dissolve someone's anger in a conflict by just being calm and not responding with anger. But also, you must not be perceived as condescending either. Right. Yeah, it's an art, isn't it, Yale? Susan says, finish the rest next Friday. Yeah, I mean, since we're not even halfway through, that's definitely an option, especially if you guys are enjoying it. It seems like you guys are enjoying it. I know I'm enjoying it. I love this video. I love talking about it. So I hope that means that you guys are enjoying it too. Bobby says, non-action is the key to ending the drama triangle. Fascinating. Yes, we have talked about the drama triangle on this channel. Those of you who don't know what he's talking about, I believe you're talking about the rescuer, persecutor, and victim triangle. Non-action is the key to ending it. I've never thought of that, Bobby. That's awesome.
Go to the people, live with them, learn from them, love them.
All right, Yale says we should, and so does Susan. So that's good enough for me. So we will continue next week, but not yet. We're going to continue here, but next week we'll probably do the second half of this video. So this quote is another one that makes me cry sometimes, because I think those of us who study philosophy, spirituality, we believe that we have to separate ourselves from the world in order to maintain or to reach and maintain this state of enlightenment. But Lao Tzu teaches the opposite. He tells us we need to go and be with the people, be what we're supposed to be, which is with the people, living with them, learning from them, and loving them.
If you do not value rare treasures, you will stop others from stealing.
This is an interesting one because for me, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, so if I somehow don't value my treasures, then others will not be drawn to them. And I think that might be true, sort of in a spiritual way. But it also is like, if you don't have a bunch of rare treasures, people aren't going to steal from you. It's kind of straightforward, right?
A scholar who cherishes the love of comfort is not fit to be deemed a scholar.
Yeah, I think some people are drawn to the intellectual world, the idea of being a scholar, because it kind of seems cushy and nice. But I believe what Lao Tzu here is saying, again, is that a scholar is not someone who withdraws themselves from the world and lives a life of comfort.
A man with outward courage dares to die. A man with inner courage dares to live.
Another very profound quote, in my opinion. Outward courage, you can see the man running into battle. He gains honor and he gains prestige from those who see his outward courage. But the man with inner courage, who can enter the meditative state, who can put aside his ego over and over to reach deeper and deeper understanding with the universe, to reach a higher and higher level of stillness and acceptance, that is a man who dares to live. All right, that's the end of this segment. We're going to watch another 3 minutes, and then I'll continue to analyze them. We'll see what time it is when we finish all of that. All right, so 3 more minutes without me interrupting. Enjoy.
One who is too insistent on his own views finds few to agree with him. There is a time to live and a time to die, but never to reject the moment. If you do not change direction, you may end up where you are heading. The more laws and order are made prominent, the more thieves and robbers there will be. If you try to change it, you will ruin it. Try to hold it,
which one, Bobby?
And you will lose it. Time is a created thing. To say, I don't have time, is like saying, I don't want to. To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. The Tao is nowhere to be found, yet it nourishes and completes all things. Manifest plainness, embrace simplicity, reduce selfishness, have few desires.
I feel that, Bobby. I have also suffered from that one too.
Do you have the patience to wait until the mud settles and the water is clear? When wealth and honors lead to arrogancy, this brings its evil on itself. Governing a great nation is like cooking a small fish. Too much handling will spoil it. I do not concern myself with gods and spirits, either good or evil, nor do I serve any. Not seeking, not expecting, she is present and can welcome all things. Is it not through her selflessness that she is able to perfect herself? Just remain in the center, watching, and then forget that you are there. He who defends with love will be secure. Heaven will save him and protect him with love. If the people must ever be fearful of death, then there will always be an executioner. When pure sincerity forms within, it is outwardly realized in other people's hearts.
All right, I think this will be the last segment that we do, so let's go back.
One who is too insistent on his own views finds few to agree with him.
So, as Bobby said, that one hits hard. Hits hard for me too. Being able to be flexible with your ideas, flexible in your views and beliefs when interacting with others. It's when we meet someone halfway that we can actually have a discussion and have a give and take, right? There's something that they can teach us. There's something we can teach them. The person who believes that they understand everything and the other person doesn't understand anything and needs to understand what they understand is not going to be listened to. And also, it's kind of related to stop thinking and end your problems, right? holding on to ideas and concepts. It's another thing that Lao Tzu warns against. Susan says, a coward dies 1,000 deaths. A brave man dies once. Exactly. As a man with inner courage dares to live, right? The man who does not have inner courage, the coward inwardly, who cannot face any of his own demons, is a person who dies 1,000 deaths.
There is a time to live and a time to die, but never to reject the moment.
That's another one that really hits me hard, and how it's so perfect. It's like there is a time to live, and there's even a time to die. You might think there's never a time to die, there's never a time to accept death, but I think that there is ultimately a time for that, and we can all agree that that's true. But there is never a time to reject the present moment, and that seems very true as well. I also wanted to mention, Bobby, I think I've said this earlier, but I have definitely had to learn that lesson, especially more recently. I think I've learned it, and I think it has really improved my relationships with other people. It helps me to not, feel agitated when somebody might disagree with me. I just reset my mind. I stay open as opposed to being insistent that the person agree with me. And as I said, I used to struggle with that a lot.
But never to reject the moment. If you do not change direction, you may end up where you are heading.
This is another one that's so perfect because you cannot argue with this one at all. It is obvious. But if you think about your life and the things that you're doing, you may end up where you're heading. So you better be sure you're headed in the right direction.
The more laws and order are made prominent, the more thieves and robbers there will be.
I am ultimately a libertarian, to be honest with you, an anarchist, basically. Like, I don't think government is good. But that is an ideal that I have finally realized is probably not going to happen in my lifetime. It is also based on the need for people to be moral. And so this quote shows that Lao Tzu agrees with the libertarian position. The more laws and order are made prominent, the more thieves and robbers there will be. It's the idea that the less we interfere with people, the more their goodness will come out in their spirit. And I believe it's true, and I hope that the future proves that it's true as well. Eleanor says, I love that one. You may end up where you're heading. So funny. Although not as funny as with the serious gravelly voice. Yeah, that's true. He does have, there's a couple comic relief ones. That one is kind of a comic relief one, but it's not delivered in any funny way.
If you try to change it, you will ruin it. Try to hold it, and you will lose it.
It's another quote on the power of non-action. I feel like it kind of speaks for itself.
Try to hold it, and you will lose it. Time is a created thing. To say, I don't have time, is like saying, I don't want to.
This is a tough one to accept, but I believe it's true. If we wanted to do something, we would make the time for it. Time is a created thing, as in all the limitations and structures around our time are self-imposed in many ways. And so if we want to get something into our life, let's say like a meditation practice or a self-care practice, we have to do it. We have to make the time for it, because if we don't make the time for it, ultimately we are saying, I don't want to. And that's the truth. If you look inside, it is the truth. No matter what excuse you come up with.
To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day.
This is another quote about living a simple life. And I feel like the truth of this quote hit me really hard in the last year or so, when I started to remove some of my old desires for like a lot of wealth or a lot of success in a very specific way. That was wisdom. is to remove more and more desires from myself. And yeah, I felt the peace immediately.
Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner.
There's another one that it's you can't really argue with it. Like, you don't have to worry about what other people think, especially specific groups of people or specific people. Maybe you're obsessing about their opinion of you, someone in your social circle or someone at work or something like that. And it's from thinking about that over and over that you end up in a mindset that is not actually going to help you. And you need to forget about what they think and just make the decision that's correct and right for yourself from your own heart.
And you will always be their prisoner. The Tao is nowhere to be found, yet it nourishes and completes all things.
You know, and every time Lao Tzu says the Tao, you could replace it with God. God is nowhere to be found, yet he nourishes and completes all things. It is true. I think that the Tao is actually an aspect of God, or it is like the void with which God works. So that's a whole nother realm of discussion that I'm not going to try to get into here.
Manifest plainness, embrace simplicity, reduce selfishness, have few desires.
It's so good. Just so much perfect advice packed into one sentence. Manifest plainness, embrace simplicity, reduce selfishness, have few desires.
Do you have the patience to wait until the mud settles and the water is clear?
This is part of the analogy for meditation and even taking the right action in life. Can you pause long enough to let the emotions settle down and so that you can see clearly what to do next?
When wealth and honors lead to arrogancy, this brings its evil on itself.
This one's basically saying the higher they rise, the harder they fall, right? When someone, and this is a reminder that seeking wealth and honors can lead to being destroyed. He's saying here that those who become arrogant because of their wealth and honors end up bringing that evil back upon themselves because they, ultimately they fall. Yale says, my favorite quote anywhere in this video, experience beach. I don't think it's in here, Yale.
Governing a great nation is like cooking a small fish. Too much handling will spoil it.
Libertarian Lao Tzu right there in the house.
I do not concern myself with gods and spirits, either good or evil, nor do I serve any.
This quote actually challenges me because I feel like I want to serve God and I want to serve the Tao. So maybe he would add that, it's I do not concern myself with gods. And he's also speaking to his audience in 500 BC that are polytheistic and perhaps worshiping this god or that god over another. And that is not the true way to worship or to follow God. But he also does advocate not being concerned with God, I believe. And that is challenging for me and kind of a contradiction between him and some of the other teachers that I appreciate. Let me know what you think in the chat. I think that there is something to be learned from the perspective of not constantly thinking that you need to be pleasing God, right? That's not the way to live either. So there's a wisdom here that needs to be distilled and integrated, in my opinion. Bobby says, the God's quote is one I like. The nation quote I also like. Yep. I don't know if there's any of these quotes I don't like, to be honest. Susan says, never make a decision when you're mad or upset. Exactly. Wait for your mud to settle and the water to be clear.
Not seeking, not expecting, she is present, and can welcome all things.
This is another statement of how powerful it is to be in the present moment without desire. We can accept all things, welcome all things that happen. We will not be disturbed.
Is it not through her selflessness that she is able to perfect herself?
This is the way of service, and this one hits me really hard, makes me cry sometimes when I'm listening to it. What other way could we claim to be perfect than to truly understand and enact selflessness?
Just remain in the center, watching, and then forget that you are there.
This is a meditation instruction, right? Just remain in the center, watching, and then forget that you are there.
He who defends with love will be secure. Heaven will save him and protect him with love.
This one also hits me hard. The idea that if we are truly faithful and we love God and we love those around us, that we will be protected. And Lao Tzu confirms this. He says, heaven will save us and protect us with love.
If the people must ever be fearful of death.
I think this, we got this one. Okay, let's do this one.
If the people must ever be fearful of death, then there will always be an executioner. When pure sincerity forms within, it is outwardly realized in other people's hearts.
Okay, so I want to go back to the executioner one in a minute, because that one actually I didn't really understand, and I asked AI about it, and the AI response was awesome. It was probably because this is an AI I've been chatting with about this channel, so he understands the philosophy. And I want to show that to you, but first I'm going to do this. This is the last quote, and then we'll do the AI one, and then we'll wrap up the stream. When pure sincerity forms within, it is outwardly realized in other people's hearts. This is, again, demonstrating the principle that when we heal ourselves, we heal others. When we are sincere, other people reflect that back to us. And I've definitely seen that to be true. Eleanor says, the selfless one is hard. What do you think Lao Tzu would say is the line between selfless and self-effacing? What would Lao Tzu say? I'm not sure. I guess what I would say is that if you are truly in flow with the universe, you are respecting your own needs. You're not erasing yourself. And also that word selflessness, it's kind of, I wish it maybe been replaced with service, and maybe the translation would have put a different word there. But we use that word because we think of, the great saints who ultimately are selfless, but they also spend all this time in meditation in pure bliss. So they're not seeking a purely selfish life or a selfless life with no pleasure. They get pleasure from communion with God. So I think that if you're truly doing it, you will find that being of service feels right, and you're doing it from a place of joy and happiness and not from a place of obligation. I hope that was helpful. Bobby says, God is a tool often used by man to steer you on a path. Therefore, you need to know your path first, then decide how to handle your relationship with God, rather than let your relationship with God lead. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I've gone both ways, and I'm now on the other side of that. I feel like I'm starting to understand the idea of surrendering to God's will. And the work of Paramahansa Yogananda has really steered me in this way. I highly suggest reading the autobiography of a yogi. It will challenge you one way or another. It is a profound, powerful book. But yeah, that is a deep philosophical question that I don't think we can discuss right now, but I'm going to save that one for the next stream. We'll discuss, maybe I'll have to share, let's see here. Yeah, I would love to get more into that, Bobby, but I feel like it's too much to go into right now. So let's go back to this other quote, and I want to show you guys what AI said about it.
Surely always be an execution. If the people must ever be fearful of death, then there will always be an executioner.
All right, let's read what AI said because it's so good. All right, so no, that's not what I want you to do, buddy. Okay. If the people must, oh, so I gave him the quote. It says, this profound quote from Lao Tzu operates on multiple levels of meaning, reflecting his deep understanding of human psychology, social dynamics, and spiritual truths. At its most literal interpretation, Lao Tzu is observing that when people live in fear of death or punishment, there will always be those who exploit that fear to control others. The executioner represents authority figures who maintain power through intimidation and the threat of harm. On a deeper philosophical level, I believe Lao Tzu is illuminating several interconnected insights. The cycle of fear and control. Fear creates the conditions of oppression. When a population is afraid, they become susceptible to control, which creates the psychological space for executioners to exist. The relationship is cyclical. Fear enables control, and control reinforces fear. Internal and external manifestations. The executioner isn't just an external figure, but represents aspects of our internal psychological landscape. Our own fear of death creates inner executioners, rigid thought patterns, limiting beliefs, and self-punishment. Liberation through acceptance. Implicit in this observation is its corollary. If people were to make peace with mortality and transcend their fear of death, the executioner would lose power. This aligns with Taoism's emphasis on acceptance and flowing with natural processes. Social commentary. Lao Tzu often criticized how governments used fear to maintain control. This quote can be read as a subtle critique of leaders who govern through intimidation rather than wisdom. The path to freedom. From a way of service perspective, this quote suggests the true spiritual freedom true spiritual freedom comes when we release our attachment to physical survival as our primary concern. When service and purpose transcend self-preservation, the executioner no longer holds power over us. What makes this quote particularly relevant to your way of service message is how it highlights that our relationship with mortality directly impacts our capacity for authentic service. When fear of death or failure or loss dominates, we become self-protective rather than service-oriented. This connects with your fifth tool of acceptance. When we fully accept the reality of our mortality and impermanence, we paradoxically become more free to live and serve fully in the present moment. Indeed, Claude. Thank you for your help. All right, guys. It is 4:17. We almost did the 90 minutes anyways. I'm gonna finish reading the chat though, so let's see. Eleanor says, whoa, the second one though. That's a good one to ponder. The second one, are you talking about the one after this? I'm not sure which one you're referring to, Eleanor. The fifth one. I was so fearful of the Armageddon, and having let that go recently, the executioner in my mind is indeed gone. Wow. Oh, fascinating. Yes, Eleanor, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I did not feel the full impact of AI's analysis. Like I said, I was trying to do a live stream today that was easier. So when I didn't understand one of these quotes, I just asked AI to tell me what it thought. And I saw that its analysis was excellent. So I read the first few paragraphs and I didn't finish it. So I didn't even get to that part, Eleanor. So I'm reading it for the first time also. Oh, yeah, number 2 and number 5 from Claude, right? Yes. Right. Oh, it's not on the screen. There we go. So she's talking about this one and this one. Yeah, the internal manifestation of the executioner, that is very powerful. a very powerful analogy that I had not thought of. So that's pretty awesome. All right, guys, I will let you know if it's 2:30 or 3 o'clock next week. If you want to put it in the chat right now, tell me if you want to do 2:30 or 3. And if you want to do 90 minutes or 60 minutes, let me know right now. Tell me what you think in the chat. Hey, hit that like and subscribe button. I forgot to mention that. Hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel. And then put a comment if you want below. If you put comments, that also helps the channel. And also, maybe you can tell me which of these quotes was the most powerful for you in the comments. That'll be interesting to read. So, anyways, Yale says he wants to do it at 3. Okay. I'll hang out and chat for a few minutes. Yale wants a 90-minute. Bobby says, I didn't realize your streams were this badass. Thank you, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that. I have been doing them for a while, so I think I've gotten better at running them and also being in the mindset of the way of service and sharing things that I've studied for years and years. That's kind of my mindset, and so it's easy for me to talk about it because I love it. I'm passionate about these topics, and I've thought about them a whole lot. So, and all the replays are there if you want to check them out. Definitely do that. All right, guys. It's 4:20. It's time for me to go. I love you. I'll see you next week.